I had an old guy tell me one time, he said, you got the potential to go anywhere. And I have. I've had opportunities to go everywhere. He told me, he said, these service rigs, there's always going to be a well that needs plugged somewhere.
Muskingum is a narrow bar island on the Ohio River, situated between the towns of Marietta, Ohio, and Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Yeah, the Ohio River was once just, an incredibly beautiful river, and I think a lot of people kind of lost sight of that.
The island has been a wildlife refuge since the 1990s. It hosts the most biodiverse freshwater mussel population in the refuge system.
It's a lot more fun to do a survey when you're finding a lot of cool mussels, right? But also this area we're doing work in is some of the highest quality mussel habitat on the refuge.
It is also home to 13 century-old abandoned oil wells, often referred to as orphan wells, which have slowly leaked oil and other contaminants onto the island and into the river.
There are hundreds of thousands of orphan wells. Many of them we don't know about, and many of them are leaking potent greenhouse gas, methane in particular.
Wellheads themselves are all very old. They're all probably at least 100 years old. Here's one right here.
On that right-hand side there.
It still has a wooden casing around the base of it. And so, in July of 2025, federal officials, oil well workers, and biologist divers began plugging the wells to protect the island's future.
Like the saying goes, societies grow great when old men plant trees amongst whose shade they shall never sit.
Orphaned oil and gas wells are inactive wells for which there is no known owner who bears the responsibility of plugging the well and restoring the well site. This often means the responsibility of plugging an orphan well falls to the state or federal government.
A lot of them were kind of like what they call wildcat wells. They're just people going freelance out there drilling wells. On a lot of our properties, we have a lot of these orphaned wells that have been left behind. People just walked away from them when they were done, and we have no record of who is responsible.
The issue is, if we didn't even permit wells until the 1930s or 1950s, meanwhile, there were hundreds of thousands of wells drilled before that, and most of those owners of those wells no longer exist. They're gone. Some of them are still here, but most of them don't exist. So how do you deal with that problem?
2 American jobs and a very rare sight in Washington today, a bipartisan bill signed into law. What economists say is the most significant investment in roads, bridges, airports, power
and that's what was in the bipartisan infrastructure bill, was to create a federal orphan well program to deal with that. For me, it was like a project that so many people could get around.
Most of the refuges that had orphan wells were out west. This was a rare refuge to actually have some orphan wells. So they really kind of honed in on this refuge to try and get these taken care of.
Do you ever wonder about the quality of the steel they used in these and how much better it probably is?
It was good.
I mean, just looking at that cut, that is nuts.
I mean, we got 2016 cars and frames that's got holes eating all the way through a truck frame, and that's their steel.
Yeah, and that's over 100 plus years old. Yeah. Hydrocarbon Well Services of Buchanan, West Virginia is plugging the abandoned oil wells on Muskingum Island. The crew is tasked with removing the casing from the old well before filling the remaining cavity with a series of cement plugs, separated by a gel layer. Every site is different. Some wells can be plugged in a few days, while others can take weeks. So you got to 620 on this one?
Yeah. So now the goal will be here in a little bit, probably to run tubing back, and then we got to mix gel and pump gel.
So you're going to do a bit of gel first, then you'll do your plug tomorrow, your concrete? Work on land had been going for about a month by late August 2025 when a team of biologists started on the mussel salvage operation on the channel side of the island. So while Paul and his crew plugged wells, we visited the divers to see how the salvage was going.
So in this situation, because there's 5 wells that are in this underwater area, it's a pretty large survey needed, so we hired a contractor to do the work. First, there has to be a survey done to kind of assess the bigger area around those wells, just kind of get a picture of what species are there and what could potentially be impacted. And then within the area of direct impact and the little buffer around it, all the mussels in there are removed and placed somewhere, usually upstream. In this case, they're moved upstream so they won't be impacted by the work that's being done.
A lot of the days we'll have 10 to 15 species by the end of the day. We found the monkey face. The little fragilis was the one they were looking at. That's fragile paper shell. We just don't get to see them real little very often, and that's when they're the prettiest.
Their purpose was to relocate any freshwater mussels they found in areas directly impacted by well plugging.
Since they're going to have impacts below the ordinary high water mark, they have to have mussel surveys. So we came out last year, the same site, we did this survey. When we did the survey, we found, I think it was 7 species of endangered mussels in this site.
This area we're doing work in is some of the highest quality mussel habitat on the Refuge. We've found the most species on the Refuge we found at Muskingum Island. The highest diversity of freshwater mussels on the Refuge we found at this island. They filter the water. They kind of act as a little, we like to call them the livers of our rivers. There's a fun little catchy thing you can say about them. So they're acting as little filters all the time.
Every single one of us is a biologist and a diver. Yeah, I'm actually about to suit up to hop in.
So their cells are 5 meters by 5 meters, and we laid lead lines on the bottom of the river in perpendicular directions. So we have a 3/8 line running with flow on the river and a 1/4 inch line running perpendicular to flow on the river. So our divers, who can't see very well at the bottom of the river, they can tell by the size of the line in their hand which direction the line runs, and that helps them orient and know that they're in the right spot. It's fairly straightforward. It's just a lot of time underwater. With the cold nights, the river has lost 5 degrees since we started this project.
Visibility went to shit this Yeah, it's really bad. I don't know.
Pardon our French.
Heavy rains in late July and August slowed work on the island. Unpredictable weather had been a recurring obstacle since the beginning of the project.
I don't know, I just think people need to understand how it works, what they do, because
a lot of people, they think this is just simple. You just come out here and throw a hose in the top of it and pump full of cement.
if they know that much.
Yeah.
They don't even know that.
The crew is mostly family. We have Paul and his son Nathan and Paul's nephew Ronald. And there's Kevin, who, while not family, is an important new addition to the crew.
You can pretty much know if a man's got this trade in him the first day he walks out.
You think it's kind of getting harder to find that kind of person?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That isn't getting sucked up into the fast, big money of all the other companies.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of good younger guys come out here, make some decent money, and either turn to drugs or that's about the size of it right there.
All of us went to college for some form of biology, at least on this crew. But we have folks they went out of high school straight into this, and years later they have their own permits, they run their own teams, their own crews, a lot of different ways to get a position on a biology team. You got to chase the work, go to where the work is. Just because you're a specialist in something doesn't mean you won't be a technician somewhere else. So we all work together, we all help each other, we all hold a diversity of permits to be able to essentially stay employed.
That's like I told him, I can show you the trade and you can make a go at it, or you can take your life away like all your buddies has.
They all chose the trade.
Yeah. I tried to teach them a long time ago, don't go out here and buy you your wants and then cry for your needs.
To me, this is just an enormous opportunity to help bring good paying jobs to economically distressed areas that have given so much to the country in terms of being sacrifice zones, more or less, for the rest of the country, for all the products that they use and all the electricity that they use. And this is a great way to, contribute to lowering pollution that will help people's health. So it's really just a win-win all the way around.
It's early September on the island, and the crew is nearly done with all the wells on land. For this well in particular, the team has removed the well casing, run any additional pipe, and are moving on to the cement and gel.
These are just cement samples where they take.
We got samples over there. We take out of each plug before we run it.
Because you gotta let it cure, make sure that it's gonna...
Make sure it's right.
Yeah.
Make sure there wasn't something in the water or something that ain't gonna let it set up.
And when that's all done, we're left with a monument, a marker that shows where the plugged well lies. So it's November 21st, 2025. Fall has happened. We're on Muskingum Island again. The monuments are what they call these. And we can see here that this well was plugged, and if you see the date, September 18th of this year, almost 2 months ago. This is the last well on the island that was plugged. But that left the wells that were in the water unplugged. And the reason that occurred is because as we reached October 1st, the federal government went into a shutdown.
The U.S. government is now officially shut down, partially.
And at the time, Hydrocarbon Well Services was waiting on a final approval from the Army Corps of Engineers to allow barges to be set and the areas around those to be dredged.
Actual area of impact is quite small. I mean, all we have to do is we're excavating the area right around the well and excavating just enough to bring in a barge to do that work. As soon as the equipment is removed, it's going to start filling back in.
The crew needs to dredge the area around the wells in the water. As of spring of 2026, 5 orphaned wells off the coast of Muskingum Island remain unplugged. Barring unforeseen weather, Paul and his crew intend to return to the site in early summer to finish the work. After that will come a reseeding plan.
Number one effort will be to try and hold at bay the encroachment of Japanese knotweed, invasive weed that is really prevalent on that island. We'll probably do a mixture of pollinator seeds and grasses.
Aside from that early part, do you remember walking on what this was like when they first got here? The mud? Yeah, it'll be really cool and interesting to see what happens once, a couple years down the road, like 4 or 5, see how much of the stuff they plant in spring makes it and survives, and how it changes things here.